Now available on home video. The Extremists. 60 minutes of real people, real adventure, real life drama.
Now look at that second series back there. Right here's where you gotta start doing something about that.
Take a close-up look at the non-stop, heart-pounding action. Witness the suspense and exhilaration of men and women, their everyday lives on the edge of sanity. Sky surfing, barefoot heli-skiing, and more. Captured by some of the world's best cameramen. This Bennett Sports video is now available for a limited time for only $19.95 plus $3.95 shipping and handling. This video will leave you breathless as you marvel at the skills, the courage, and the daring of the world's greatest extremists. Telephone 1-800-272-2723. Visa and MasterCard accepted. Phone 1-800-272-2723. Order now.
Let's go. Hello. You're relaxing at home? Come on, check the action here at Hookeeper Beach Park. Yeah, man. Irie, man. Come on.
The state of Hawaii is located 2,000 miles out in the Pacific Ocean and made up of many beautiful islands. Oahu is known as the gathering place with North Shore surf, Waimea Falls, along with Hanauma Bay, and of course famous Diamond Head and Waikiki Beach. Kauai is the Garden Isle. The oldest island is lush and green and features the rugged Nepali coast. The Orchid Isle is the big island of Hawaii, which is home to Kilauea, the world's biggest active volcano on Earth. Hawaii, its islands offer unmatched beauty, and its people, the Aloha spirit.
My name is Josh Angulo. I've been sailing since I was 10 years old, and I grew up here on Hawaii's North Shores.
6 years ago, Josh Angulo became the youngest sailor to compete in the Aloha Classic at the age of 12. Now at the age of 18, he's become one of the sport's premier wave performance competitors. His family has been very supportive. In fact, his father, Ed, makes his wave boards, and they are very special.
Basically, this board does whatever I want it to. It's kind of like, it's pretty magic. I'm psyched.
It's a custom twin fin, and it loves to get air. Josh Angulo is very innovative with his moves. In fact, he can slide the board and do some very unique things with it, like this tail slide on the face of a wave. That's how you score points, and Josh Angulo will try anything. Over the years, Josh Angulo has loved to get big air, and he's patterned his style after Robbie Nash. And right now, it is Josh Angulo versus Robbie Nash in our first men's wave performance final. This is Rush Randall. I call him a futurist. He has vision, along with skill and daring. The 1990 Aloha Classic wave champion loves the thrill of big wave riding. Also, the challenge of tricks and new maneuvers with his sailboard. And he's also an accomplished surfer. But more recently, he's combined the sports of surfing and windsurfing by putting straps on his board. And now he's going places on a wave no surfer has ever gone before. Rush Randall, futurist, taking surfing to new heights. Every year, Hawaiian Tropic comes to Maui to pick one of the most beautiful girls to represent the 50th state in the Miss Hawaiian Tropic U.S. Nationals Beauty Pageant. The setting for this year's pageant was the outdoor luau stage at the magnificent Maui Marriott on Ka'anapali Beach. Congratulations to Monica Soares, who will go on to compete in the Miss Hawaiian Tropic National Competition and have the opportunity to win over $100,000 in cash and prizes. Now let's take a look at our winner. Congratulations to our winner, Monica Soares, Miss Hawaiian Tropic, Maui, 1993-94.
Well, it's always tight to keep it because, you know, everyone sails so good. And when the heats get this late in the evening, I mean, everyone's so, you know, all the good guys are in the top bracket. So it's a really do or die situation. I'm just glad, you know, that I snuck through.
Windsurfing is like any sport you see on TV. What you are seeing is the best people in the world doing it. They make it look really, really easy.
North Shore, Maui. A virtual east-to-west wind tunnel that combines with Hawaii's strong north swell to create the best big wave windsurfing conditions in the world. 25 to 30 knot trade winds blowing across huge mast-high waves grind less than able sailboarders into an unsuspecting rock garden of sharp coral reef. Welcome to Ho'okipa Beach. The Professional Sailboarding Association makes Ho'okipa the final stop on its international tour of top sailors who understand that bragging rights come with conquering this monster break.
Ho'okipa is definitely one of the best wave sailing spots in the world. It offers, great wind, tropical climate and great waves, and that's, the three combinations that, you need to go windsurfing. So it's just perfect. This is really the pinnacle of the sport, and if you really want to do well in wave performance, you really got to excel here, because once you've done well here, then you get recognition and you start getting coverage and sponsors.
And Jason should know. He and fellow 22-year-old Rush Randall have taken the necessary knocks required to bring home the Aloha Classic Wave Performance Crown, the contest held annually at Ho'okipa Beach. Both currently reside at the forefront of windsurfing's aerial revolution, and both know the feeling of flying, whether going up the wave or coming down.
The aerial off the lip on waves that big, going from the bottom of the wave to the top of the wave with full power in your sails, launching off the lip of the wave, looking down, you have continuous speed through your whole maneuver by means of the power from the wave and the power from your sail. When you're leaving the lip of a wave that size, the feeling is basically that of what somebody would see a seagull doing, cruising across the top of a wave on the ocean, using the updraft from the wave to keep its momentum going through 500 yards, 1,000 yards, constantly going. The aerial off the lip would have to be one of the most fluid and unbelievable looking maneuvers that a windsurfer can do.
For Jason, the same can be said of launching up a wave.
Yeah, definitely. Like jumping really high on a big windy day when it's like, 8 feet and the side shore winds and it's really honking winds. I mean, you can't beat the height. The height that you get from doing launching off an 8-foot wave is incredible. It's just like dropping down a big 10 or 12-foot wave and doing a nice bottom turn. It's the same feeling, the adrenaline, the height. It's just amazing. It's unreal. Looking back at the beach, you're right up there and just hovering like a bird for a while. It's awesome.
Jason and Rush began their careers early, amassing more years of experience between them than the sport has been in existence. And they understand that sailing into 20-foot swells takes much more than courage. Survival in these conditions necessitates a keen sense of timing and the strength to pull it off.
And I think that's a major factor, definitely, is to have the strength to be able to hit the lip. And when you do a huge area, I mean, there's so much force up there with the wind and the offshore winds. You're getting backwinded and all sorts of things. You've got to be able to just to hang on to that boom and can control the whole rig.
Basically everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and I've learned from it what not to do, how to prevent it from happening. It's just a matter of learning from it and overcoming it and building your body up so that it is capable of withstanding 30-foot free falls and landing flat as if you were jumping off a cliff and landing on a piece of plywood that's floating on the water.
And while sheer strength can occasionally dominate over an uncompromising wave, it's timing that remains most critical. Bad timing can mean big trouble, especially in Hawaii.
The person who's watching it can't actually physically see the power involved with the wave. The problem with a keeper is you get sucked under and then you lose your rig, and then you get sucked back out, into the wave, and then sucked back in and sucked back out. And after a while you're saying to yourself, I think I'm going to die. I think honestly I'm going to drown. And that's a really scary thing.
The timing off the bottom to the lip has got to be right on, otherwise you're liable to get your boom in your face from the lip hitting the sail, or you're liable to end up nosediving in front of a 6-foot wave and having it land on you after you just did a face plant.
Despite the obvious dangers involved with taking on Mother Nature at her finest, dedicated sailors like Rush Randall and Jason Polikow continue to sail, continue to thrive, searching for the next big challenge. And in the end, when the day is done and it's time to go home, a contemplative look at the whys versus the dangers reveals a surprisingly simplistic view.
The draw to windsurfing for me is the big waves. I grew up on Oahu. I grew up on the North Shore of Oahu, surfing capital of the world. I started surfing when I was 5. So for me, surfing's in my blood.
The reason why, I'm so persistent at it is because of the fact that I love doing it, That's really what's driving me, is the love of the sport and getting out there in the good waves and the adrenaline and all things like that.
This is the island of Maui, a place of rare and uninhibited beauty. Now let's take a rock and roll look at big team rider Robert Tertahau from New Caledonia. "25 years old, 8th-year pro out of New Caledonia, now living part-time on Maui because of the great wind and waves. 4th overall on the PBA World Tour in 1991, this man will try anything on the water." From trick riding and small surf and an all-out aerial attack to charging hard in mast-high waves, Robert Tertahau, big team rider, rock and roll sailor extraordinaire.
When Hoist Schweitzer invented the sport of windsurfing, he couldn't possibly have foreseen the popularity the sport would generate in such a short time. In the span of 1 decade, 500,000 people in the United States alone have taken up the sport. Each year, the sport has grown to such a level that windsurfing professionals from 30 countries compete for well over $1 million in prize money. But beyond the sport's overwhelming popularity is the spectacular direction that a few elite board sailors have taken it.
The most extreme thing in windsurfing is the fact that you're out in the elements that are always changing. You know, nothing's ever the same. It's not like tennis. It's not like football. You don't have a playing field that's a set thing and it's always the same. One day you go out and the waves will be 2 feet. The next day you go out, it'll be 15 feet, you know, way over mast high, sometimes double mast high. And your power source is the wind, and sometimes the wind isn't always there. Sometimes you get out and you're heading out and a 15-foot set's coming in and you can't see the horizon, people on the beach can't see you, and suddenly the wind dies. And there you are standing with your pants down, and the set will just break on your head and your history.
You know, I'll push it as hard and as far as anybody else, you know, regardless of age or anything. You know, that's where the fun comes in. You know, the faster, the higher, the bigger the wave. When you've been doing something at the level that I have for as long as I have, 17 years now, I mean, you've got to continue to push it to keep the enjoyment factor up there. Unfortunately, this is a sport that you never really get sick of, but you definitely look for those days, you know, the bigger waves, the stronger winds, etc.
Robbie Nash and Pete Cabrina are two of windsurfing's original charter members of the Hukipa Air Force. Concentrating much of their time in and around Maui's gusty North Shore, both of these windsurfing mavericks have found a home on the professional circuit. In the beginning, though, before all the hoopla, it was quality airtime that drew these guys away from surfing.
One of the things that separates windsurfing from surfing, although they are sister sports, is the fact that you can get just mega sky-high jumps in excess of 30, 40 feet sometimes. You know, sometimes there'll be a helicopter filming you and you'll get up there and you'll be level with the pilot. You know, you'll be looking right at him. And it's a feeling of, you know, flight. It's like, I guess, the same thing that hang gliders feel.
Wave jumping, one of the fastest evolving disciplines in board sailing, grew out of one aspect of PBA competition, wave performance. Favorites with both fans and competitors alike, the early wave jumping trendsetters like Robbie Nash and Pete Cabrina, with the aid of newly designed foot straps to keep the sailor on the board, took to the air like none before. Today, cutting-edge jumps like the mule kick have been rendered passé in favor of more dynamic aerial loops. These amazing wave jumpers have always been both a big crowd pleaser and a source of extreme change. But perhaps no single athletic endeavor in all of sports commands the type of respect given those individuals who test themselves against one of nature's most ferocious challenges, big waves.
Warning, the high surf advisory remains in effect for the north and west shores of all the islands.
windsurfing is moving into the 90s with much-deserved fanfare and excitement. Sailors are currently having success with on-the-wave 360s, and the first double loop, only a dream some 5 years ago, is now very close to becoming a reality. On the technology side, improvements in sail design are threatening to make the double loop outdated even before one is successfully completed. Whatever happens, though, one thing is certain. The Hukipa Flyers, Nash and Cabrina, will be there leading the charge.
It's happening. First songs we came up with years ago.
It explains sailing in itself. It's a possessive sport.
Because he was possessed to sail at the time when I wrote it.
Fills his eyes, wind blows through his hair to hit the lip